I welcome you all to this video on mechanical module 2 of mechanical measurements and metrology on comparators. In the last video we have discussed about mechanical comparators. In this video we are going to discuss about the optical comparators. When we say optics, obviously it is with respect to the principle of reflection, refraction and magnification. These are some of the important interference, diffraction. These are all the important principles which are used in optics. In the measurement and metrology concepts also, we are specifically we using reflection, refraction and interference phenomena in a widely manner, especially for the measurement and comparator purposes. These large magnifications by the use of optical principles through mechanical magnification in these instruments contributes quite a lot for a overall magnification. All optimum comparators works on the one of the following important principles. One is the use of optical lever and the second one is use of enlarged images. Optical comparators are capable of giving high degree of measuring precision. Uh, Generally, it is due to the reduction of moving members. They possess a better wear resistance qualities than mechanical types. Especially the number of components are being reduced, because of which the inertial losses are reduced. The second one is the moving components are reduced, which reduces the friction and also the phenomena of wear and tear. So that is the major advantage which makes the enables the optical comparators to give a high degree measuring high degree of measuring capabilities with a higher degree of accuracy and precision. Also, the inherent disadvantages found with the mechanical comparators are such as weight, bending properties, friction are overcome by the optical comparators. If a beam of light is directed onto a mirror as shown, it will be reflected onto a screen at a 0 as dot. Example, the angle E at which the beam strikes, let me say here, let us go with this figure, we can understand in a better manner. Usually in case of all measuring instruments or optical comparators, we use a monochromatic light source, which is nothing but the parallel rays of light. From a light source, the light is being emitted, which is being condensed with the help of filter. The whole light is converted with the help of in terms of a monochromatic light with the index lens and the projection lens. Further, the monochromatic light may fall on this mirror. When it falls on the mirror at an angle of, let me say, theta, even the same image is being reflected back onto the other target surface at a same angle theta. Okay. When if I am going to tilt the mirror by an angle of, let me say, by angle theta, then obviously the rays are being reflected back at an angle or changing its reflection image is going to change its angle by an angle 2 theta. The mirror angle is being tilted with the help of a pivot which is supported or nothing but the other end of this lever. This is not LIVR, it is a LEVR. This is the other tip of this lever which is connected. The if I am going to give a upward or downward movement to this plunger, that causes the movement in the upward or downward manner to the pointer which is fixed at the other end, which is being supported at the center with the help of a pivot. So when the plunger is moving up or downward, then obviously it's going to cause some movement at the other end, which these two points are connected with the help of a lever. So this small movement of this plunger which is at the other end gives causes the movement or tilting of this mirror, let me say, by an angle 2 theta. Then the reflected image is also going to change by an angle 2 theta. So based on this, the optical and the reflected image is going to be captured over a scale, and that gives the readings on this scale. JUS ultra optimeter is one such optical comparator which is widely used to check the readings or nothing but for the measurement purpose, which is possessing a high degree of magnification. uh, Here, even in this case also, there are two mirrors. Let me say the mirror 1, mirror 1 and a mirror 2. Mirror 1 is a movable mirror, whereas the mirror 2 is a fixed mirror. The lamp, which is a light source, which is being used for with the which is being filtered with the help of a green filter, and then it is condensed, and with the help of index lens, other being passed filtered on, and only monochromatic light source are being used. And this monochromatic light rays is going to fall on the movable surface or a mirror M1, which is supported by a pivot, and one end of this movable mirror is connected as a plunger or a spindle. Okay, when the that is at a zero reading, it is the movable mirror is perfectly flat, because of which the monochromatic light source are going to fall on the movable mirror and is reflected back at the same angle. Let me mirror 2, and again it is reflected back onto the mirror 1, and finally it is reflected back with the help of objective lens and graticle. The eyepiece is with the help of eyepiece we can capture the reflected image, and we can set it to 0 now. And during the measurement purpose, let me say I want to compare now, that when I am using for the measurement purpose, that gives the upward movement or a downward movement for this plunger, nothing but I am tilting the which is going to cause the tilting angle of this movable mirror. That is the movement of this plunger will cause the tilting of the movable mirror M1. When the movable mirror M1 is tilted by an angle theta, the reflected image is going to cause at an the reflection is going to cause at an angle of 2 theta on the mirror M2, and it is reflected back at the same angle. And further, because this is a fixed, so when it is reflected back onto the movable mirror, it is already changed its angle. Now again it is going back with a magnification value, and then it has the image, reflected image is going to change, displace from its original location or a point. So objective lens, with the help of objective lens and graticle, the eyepiece graticle is nothing but it is incorporated with the scale. So with the help of a graticle and eyepiece, the image is being captured, and with the help of a graticle we can easily or nothing but the scale which is inherent in the graticle, we can analyze what is the shift of the reflected image, that is the displacement of the reflected image with respect to its original location. By checking that displacement, we can connect it and easily calculate what is the angle which is being tilted, or it is need to be calibrated in terms of a angle of a movable mirror M1. And when we know that movable mirror M1 is being tilted at which angle, let me say the theta angle, then we can easily calculate what is the height which is being pushed or pulled for this plunger or a spindle. The major advantages of this optical comparators are, as I already mentioned, it has got only few moving linkages, and they are not subjected to friction and consequent wear and tear. This results in high degree of measurement. The scale can be made to move past a datum line, thus have a high range of measurements and no parallax error. The magnification is usually high, up to 5000x. The optical lever is generally weightless, since the number of components which are involved in this comparator is completely reduced. Some of the limitations of optical comparators are heat from the source of light, transformers which may cause the setting to drift. An electrical supply is necessary to operate these kind of comparators, whereas the mechanical comparators are free from any such aid in sources for the operation. The size of these comparators are large and costly. Since the scale is projected on a screen, it is essential to use these instruments in dark room in order to take the readings. that is to carefully record the readings. The scale is it need to be operated in a dark room. Some comparators in which the scale is viewed through an eyepiece of a microscope are not convenient for continuous use. The next to this optical comparators is electrical and electronic comparators. They possess a minimum number of moving parts, and hence a high degree of reliability can be expected from these kind of instruments. Generally, this type of comparators works on the principle of Wheatstone bridge. In the Wheatstone bridge, generally to balance the bridge, the ratio of the resistance in each pair of arms must be equal. It is generally like R1 by R3 is equal to R2 by R4. If the R1 and R2, R3, R4 are connected in a square manner, and R1 and R3 are opposite resistors, and R2 and R4 are opposite resistors. In a DC circuit, generally the electrical resistance in each arm is caused by the change of balance of the displacement of an armature relative to the arm under the action of measuring plunger. But if alternating current is applied to such bridge, the inductance and capacitance of arms must be taken into account in order to the resistance, in addition to the resistances. In actually measuring instruments, one pair of inductance takes the form of a pair of coils in the measuring head of the instrument. An iron armature inside these coils moves along with the measuring plunger, and if the current is already balanced, upsets this balance and causes the deflection of the pointer of the move. That's why generally that one part of the resistor, or let me say R2 or R4, is connected as a measuring device. The meter is calibrated directly in linear units corresponding to the plunger movement. Commonly used instruments of these types are electrolimit, electrocator, electric gauges. Magnifications up to 30,000 are possible with this kind of system. The schematic representation of this electrical comparator, we can see here the plunger, which is connected with the help of an arm and the flexible strip, and around it there is an armature. Armature is nothing but an insulator, and over that the coils, which is connected to an electrical supply. When a plunger is moving up or downward movement, or when the movement is given to the plunger, that causes the variation in the arm, either upwards or downwards, which is going to cause the change in the resistance or inductance. So which will cause the change in the EMF, which is generated, or nothing but there will be imbalance in the Wheatstone bridge, because of which the change in the EMF can be calibrated in terms of the movement of this plunge. LVDT is one of the best and most widely used type of electrical comparator. It has got several applications. LVDT is so that's why it is most popular, and it can convert. It has the capability to convert mechanical displacement into electrical signals. In effect, it is a differential transformer consisting of three symmetrically spaced coils wound on an insulated bobbin. It works on the principle of mutual inductance. Whenever any two one is a coil and another is a core rod, if both are being separated with the help of insulating material, then mutual inductance will cause the change in the source, change in the EMF. The center coil is energized from an external AC power source, and two end coils are connected in the phase opposition, which in turn are used as pickup coils. That is primary coil and two secondary coils. Both the secondary coils are connected in a, let me say, at 180 degree, and the center coil is placed in a 90-degree phase. The output amplitude and the phase depends on the relative coupling between the two pickup coils and the power coil. The power coil is generally let me say which is a primary coil. The relative coupling in turn depends on the position of the core. If the core is centered in the middle of the two secondary windings, then voltage induced in secondary windings will be identical, that is 180 degree out of phase, and the net output will be 0. If the core is moved off the middle position, then the mutual inductance of the primary with the secondary coil will be greater than the other, and the differential voltage will appear across the secondary in series. So a typical differential transformer characteristics obtained by plotting the output voltage versus a core displacement within the limits of either side of the null position. The core displacement results in a proportional output. The linear range depends on the length of the secondary coils. Uh, this is the secondary coil which are connected in the on either sides of the primary coil. When the core is given, which is connected to the plunger, when the plunger is moving, or it is nothing but which is connected to the measuring device, then if the displacement is given to core, that causes the change in the mutual inductance of the primary coil with the secondary coil 1 or the primary coil with the secondary coil 2. So based on because of which the mutual inductance among these two coils or the primary coil with the secondary coil is also going to change, and that is being sensed out, which is calibrated in terms of a displacement of the core. The some of the major advantages of LVDT or electrical and electronic comparators are: LVDT has several distinctive advantages over other transducers. Generally, these transducers uh, are highly precise and accurate. It can be used as a primary detector transducers, where since it converts the primary mechanical displacement into electrical voltage, and it do not require any assistance of another element, just like a strain gauges. LVDT cannot be overloaded mechanically since the core is completely separable from the rest of the equipment. The usage of the whole instrument is being enhanced. It is relatively insensitive to high or low temperatures and to the temperature ranges. It provides a comparatively high output which can be used without intermediate applications. It is reusable and of reasonable cost. Some of the limitations of this electrical and electronic comparators are: it can't be widely used in the area of dynamic measurements since the core is of appreciable mass compared with the mass of the strain gauges. If 60 CPS voltage supply voltage is used, then it becomes a limiting factor as far as dynamic measurement is concerned. If the direction from the null point is to be indicated, then the advantage of sample circuit is lost. In general, the advantages of electronic and electrical comparators: the measuring unit can be removed from the indicating instrument. It can be operated in a remote manner. Further, these comparators have high magnification with less number of moving parts. When we say that there are less number of moving parts, it enhances the accuracy level of the degree of measurement. The mechanism carrying the pointer is very light, and which makes not sensitive to vibration. The measuring unit is compact and it can have several magnifications. Some of the limitations are these comparators require an external source of energy to operate, that is AC electrical supply. Thus, the fluctuation in voltage or frequency of electrical supply may affect the result. Heating of coils in the measuring unit may cause zero drift or alter the calibration. If a fixed scale is used with a moving pointer, then with a high magnification, very small range of measurement results. Electrical and electronic comparators are more expensive compared to the mechanical comparators. Next is about pneumatic comparators. Here pneumatic comparators are nothing but the comparators which uses the compressed air in principle, in as the name itself suggests. So it is about air which is used as a means of magnification, or compressed air in terms of a magnification. Pneumatic comparators works on the principle of air jet. When the air jet is in close proximity with a surface, the flow of air out of that jet will be restricted. This will result in a change of pressure in the system supplying the jet. A chamber which is fitted with the control orifice and measuring orifice D, through which the air flows from a supply at constant pressure P1. If the size of the control orifice C remains constant, any variation in the size of the gauging orifice D will cause an alteration in the pressure P2 in the chamber. This pressure variation is measured by the pressure gauge of suitable sensitivity, which may be a manometer. Bore and tube type gauge or bellows are graduated to and graduated to read in the linear units. The size of the orifice D varies as the distance of the workpiece from the gauging orifice D alters. So let me assume that this is a control orifice C, whereas this is a measuring orifice D. This is the target surface, whereas initial filter and pressure regulator. When the air is being filtered and after passing through a pressure regulator at a constant pressure, the compressed air is injected into the system. Through a control orifice, the compressed air will pass and further it goes onto the measuring orifice. The size of this orifice is being measuring orifice here is going to vary because based on the back pressure which is created because of the target surface when the compressed air is heating. So measuring orifice D is going to change because of the change in the pressure P in this measuring section, and that pressure which is is being measured with the help of pressure gauge or a pressure indicator, and finally it can be easily calculated. Surface of imaginary cylinder M is equal to pi into capital D into small capital L. Systems of pneumatic comparators. There are two types of systems of pneumatic comparator. One is flow or velocity type. Second one is the back pressure type. So this is first one, flow or velocity type. The compressed air is allowed to enter with help of a filter. It is being filtered for any foreign particles or any oil suspensions in the or any other suspension particles present in the air, and then with help of pressure regulator the pressure is being regulated and it is sent to this scale. So scale, float, glass tube, pressure regulator, filter. So the float can move either upwards or downwards. Float can move upwards or downwards on the scale, and then it is connected to the gauging head with the help of a plastic tube. The gauge head uh, is nothing but this section which is uh, inserted into the bore for which the diameter has to be measured. This is the gauge head. The compressed air is allowed to enter into the gauge head, and because of which once the compressed air enters to the gauge head, it can exit at the other two sections or two openings which is present in the gauging head. The back pressure is created because of the surface which is present on the inner walls of the bore. As the inner walls of the bore is close to this gauging head, that indicates that causes the higher pressure, back pressure. As these are all the bore diameter is greater compared to the required nominal diameter, then obviously the gap will be larger and this back pressure which is created is reduced. So which can indicate that the diameter with respect to the gauging head and the walls of the bore is also going to be different. A flow or velocity type, here it is operated by sensing and indicating the momentary rate of airflow. In this case, compressed air after filtering and pressure regulating unit flows through a glass tube containing a small metal float. The compressed air then flows through a plastic tube to the gauge head, having two dramatically opposite orifices for the air to escape. The position of the float depends upon the amount of air flowing through a gauge head, which in turn depends upon the clearance between the bore to be measured and the gauging head. So here we can see it is a velocity type. The compressed air is allowed inside, or it is made to enter with the help of a pressure regulator. The initial pressure is being measured, and this is a control orifice which controls the inlet of this compressed air, and then it is allowed to go out, and this is kept as a reference pressure. This is used as a reference pressure. When the air is going to exit at the with the help of a gauge head, the if any because of pressure is created because of a back pressure, when it is bouncing back, the compressed air is bouncing back, because of which the air is going to exit through this atmosphere, the adjustable datum for the control of a datum setting. So the two different pressures are being compared, and we can easily say that the what is the pressure difference based on that the distance between the gauging head and the target surface. The principle of pneumatic gauging in the pneumatic gauging is the back pressure type comparator is as follows, like air from the constant pressure source flows through the atmosphere through orifice OC and OM as shown. uh, So when it is passing through the OC, the pressure of the compressed air is P1, let me assume, and then when it is passing through the OM, then it is P2, and then it is going to exit at the atmosphere. So in the basic back pressure circuit shown in the Bourdon tube, bellows or diaphragm deflects according to the back pressure changes built up in the circuit. When the workpiece is placed over the measuring head, the deflection is amplified by a lever and gear measurement and indicated on the dial. Solex pneumatic comparator is such one device which is used for checking the uh, bores or checking the different types of dimensions with the help of a pneumatic system. Basically, the Solex is a company which markets such devices and employs a water manometer for the indication of back pressure. It consists of a water tank in which the water is filled up to a certain level and the dip tube is inserted into the depth corresponding to the air pressure required. So let me go with the figure here, that is better. We can so, the compressed air is taken into a cylinder in this case, and it is filtered initially as we generally do it, and then a water tank is placed which is a reservoir which is filled up to a certain level, and a dip tube is inserted into it to a depth corresponding to the air pressure required. This is a dip tube, and then there a manometer is connected. The air is sent at a high pressure than the required. Some air will escape from the dip tube and bubbles to the top of the water tank. This is the water which is being replaced by the air. Thus the air moving towards the control orifice will be at a desired constant pressure. So then the air at this pressure passes through the control orifice and escape from the measuring jets on this end. It is going to exit. When the back pressure is created in the circuit, it is indicated by the head, which is nothing but the when the back pressure is created, the pressure is created in this case at this junction, and because of which it is going to replace the air in this manometer tube, which is nothing but the change in the height, capital H and small h, which is going to be, we can compare it and we can calculate what is the back pressure which is being created. The back pressure is can be calibrated in terms of a dimensions or a linear measurement. The pressure in the manometer tube is regulated by the relative area rates of escape of air through the control orifice and measuring jets. If the measuring jets are completely closed, then the manometer level is depressed to the bottom of this tube, let me say somewhere here. Then the tube is graduated linearly to show the changes in the pressure regulating from the changes in the internal diameter of the work being used. The major advantages of pneumatic comparators are the gauging member does not come in contact with the part to be measured, and hence practically no wear takes place on the gauging member. It has a very less number of moving parts, and thus the accuracy is more due to the absence of friction and lower inertia. It is possible to have a high degree of magnification. It is suitable device for measuring diameters of holes where the diameter is small compared with the length. It is the best method for determining the quality and taperness of the circular holes, that is especially for the larger aspect ratio holes, and it is one of the best device to check the diameter. And the second one is the tapering of the holes at the other end. In case of non-through holes, then it is very difficult if the larger length holes are there, and it is easy with the help of to check such holes with the help of pneumatic comparators. Measuring pressure is very small, and the jet of air helps in cleaning the dust along with measurement purpose, and if any from the part Thanks. As disadvantages, it requires elaborate actual equipments. So because of which accurate pressure, accurate pressure regulators, compressors, etc. So it makes the whole comparator to be a bigger or larger in capacity or size. The scale is not generally not linear. When indicating device is glass tube, the magnification system is magnification is a high magnification is necessary in order to avoid the parallax. The apparatus is not easily portable because so many number of components are involved in it, and especially for the industrial applications, it is a rather elaborate device or large number of larger device it is. Thanks for watching this video. In the next class, we saw some numericals based on the gauging system. I have used many resources from the textbooks and different textbooks and internet sources. I acknowledge all such sources in preparing this teaching material. Thank you for all such sources as well as for patient listening.